We do want to wish you all the best for this evening. And remember, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll be more than happy to answer them later when it's time for such. So I'm going to hand over now to Dr. Nicole Francis Cotton as we get straight into this wonderful evening together.
Good evening, everyone, and it's such a pleasure having you here with us. And I see some familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces, but regardless of the faces, you are all welcome. So this evening, our focus is on grief, death, and loss, and how to cope with it. So at this point, I'm going to ask you to interact with me as I get into this session. And as you're looking at the screen right now, you are seeing an image, and you're also seeing a word, a sentence, right? A phrase. It says, "Deep in earth, my love is lying, and I must weep alone." Edgar Allan Poe. Deep in earth, my love is lying, and I must weep alone. I want you, as you look at that sentence, and as you look at the picture, if you feel comfortable, and this is not for everyone, because I know not everybody is willing to share during a session, I'd like you to introduce yourself and share the feelings that this picture evokes in you. Share your thoughts, any thoughts that come up for you as a result of the picture. Deep in earth, my love is lying, and I must weep alone. Elizabeth, you still have no sound? You may need to go out and come back in. Can everybody hear us?
Loud and clear, good evening.
Good evening and welcome. Wonderful. So anybody wants to jump in on this? Who would like to take a jab at this statement? Deep in earth, my love is lying, and I must weep alone. If you'd like to share what these thoughts conjure up in you, just unmute yourself or raise your hand, which is better. Raise your hand and unmute yourself, and just introduce yourself and tell us what it means to you.
Can I take a shot at it?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Roger Yifong. Looking at it, gives you a sense of seclusion, the darkness. There's a light ahead, but you don't want to venture out into the light, and you feel a sense of loneliness, sense of I don't want to say fear, but to go out into the light, you feel you're going to be exposed, right? And so this is sometimes we have this tendency when we have fear to hold back, rather than come out in the light for people to see you. You have this tendency, you feel exposed. So you're rather to stay back. That sense of feeling, a sense of loneliness, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. And for yourself personally, are you going through any form of grief at the moment?
Nothing specifically, but I've been through a lot of experiences.
Yes.
So, but every experience in life is always something new, and this is where at times you rely on your experiences, but sometimes you're always learning, especially from others.
Right.
So as I say, it's a learning experience. So this is where I am just as interested to hear what others may be sharing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And we all give you a virtual clap for being bold and confident in sharing this evening. Thank you very much. Anybody else before I continue? Any other takers? Deep in earth, my love is lying and I must weep alone. Going once, twice? All right, I will continue. So the question is, are you grieving? And if you are grieving, what are the signs? Is your loved one, associate, student, or pet grieving? So what is grief? A simple definition. Grief is the experience and natural feelings that come with a loss. And that loss could be anything. Could be death, could be loss of a friendship, could be anything. Such a simple definition helps us to understand that grief is not only experienced when someone we love dies. There are many faces of grief. And these are some of the faces of grief. And some of them may surprise you. Addiction, death, divorce, a failed business venture, loss of faith, financial insecurity, loss of a home, independence, mental ability, loss of a pet, your physical health, plans, hopes, and dreams that you've had and you've lost them, relationships, various roles that you may play in your life that are no longer there. You know, there are so many persons after they have retired, they end up dying because they were so connected to their work. Sexual molestation, sense of safety or security, loss of a sense of safety or security, loss of freedom. Look at what's happening with us for COVID all around the world. People fighting and rising up because they feel their freedoms being restricted. Loss of status, unemployment, and loss of treasured possessions. All of these are the many faces of grief. And so there is a model called the tier model. And in this model, it speaks of the tasks of grief. And the tasks of grief, an acronym, the T equals to accept the reality of the loss. E, experience the pain of the loss. Adjust to the new environment without the lost person, that's the A. And R, reinvest in the new reality. So these are some symptoms of grief and loss. And as you look at the symptoms or listen to me sharing about them, examine your own life or those around you and see if you are able to identify if indeed you are grieving. Many of the normal grief behaviors may seem like manifestations of depression. Clareman, a prominent depression researcher, believed that many depressions are precipitated by losses, either immediately following the loss or at some later time when the person is reminded of the loss. So these are some symptoms of grief and loss. There is sadness, anger, blame, guilt and self-reproach, helplessness, shock, yearning, emancipation, anxiety, loneliness, fatigue, helplessness, numbness, relief. You might ask, relief, why relief? Well, there are some cases in which the person may have had to labor a long time with the loved one, and it was very painful. And so as a result, the person dies, and there is a sense of relief, even though there is sadness. Numbness. There are also physical sensations to grief and loss. Hollowness in the stomach, tightness in the chest, tightness in the throat, oversensitivity in the nose, a sense of depersonalization, meaning nothing seems real. These physical sensations also include breathlessness, feeling like you're out of breath, shortness of breath, weakness in muscles, lack of energy, and dry mouth. So as you contemplate some of these symptoms, you may ask yourself, am I experiencing any of these symptoms? And do you notice that in any of your loved ones or associates? Other symptoms have to do with cognitions, right? In your mental capacity. Sometimes thoughts persist that lead to depression and anxiety. There's disbelief, confusion, preoccupation, sense of a presence, hallucinations. And then there are other persons that may feel as if they can't remember things, they're forgetting things. The behaviors that are associated with grief and loss, and these behaviors may correct themselves over time, are sleep disturbances, distracted and absent-minded behaviors, social withdrawal, dreams of the deceased, avoiding reminders of the deceased, searching and calling out, sighing, restless hyperactivity, crying, visiting places or carrying objects that remind the survivor of the deceased, treasuring objects of the deceased. Now, there is an aspect that very often we forget about, and that is children. Children grieve. And there's some parents and some adults who forget that. And each child grieves in his or her unique way. And after death that occurs, I would invite you to mute yourself. Yeah. After a death that occurs under traumatic circumstances, some young children develop traumatic grief responses, making it hard to cope with their loss. So these are some of the things that our children will want you to know. Even though I am young, I miss the person and get very sad. So children would like you to know, those that are grieving, if you may not know, even though I'm young, I miss the person and get very sad. And for persons who, have lost loved ones, and I know that we have had many losses over the last few days and weeks and months. You have children. Sometimes they may act up in class. Other times they may, seem just as if they, we like to say in our Caribbean way, they're disgusting, acting up and misbehaving. But you need to dig a little deeper. And those are signs that potentially this child may be really going through a traumatic time with the loss of the loved one. And they want you to know my feelings change a lot. Sometimes I'm sad and other times I like to have fun. I do not understand that when someone dies, they are gone. These are some of the things that young children would want you to know. And how can you help? You teach me to talk about my feelings with words. Now, in order for you to do that, you yourself have to be comfortable being able to discuss death and grief. And so it's important that you work on your own self and grow yourself so that you can help a child to walk through this process. They also, children want you to know that you can help me when you try to understand me and get it right. And when you tell me you understand how I feel, and not just say, oh, get out of here, or just fix your face or whatever. Allow them to express themselves. Remind me quietly that the person cannot come back, even if I ask over and over. So those are some of the things that our children would want us to know. They also want you to know, sometimes I worry that I will die or that you will not come back if you leave. I might cry and cling to you at bedtime or going to school. My upset feelings might come out as physical reactions like belly aches and headaches, or as behavior problems. But you can help me when you tell me that you will keep me safe. Tell me when you leave that you'll always come back, and give me a picture of us or a note in my lunchbox to remind me that you will be back. You help me to do things to feel calmer and get back to my routines. So those are some of the things that our children will want us to know when they are grieving, and to have more understanding and compassion, recognizing that as children, their brains are not fully developed. And so it is difficult as much as it is difficult for you as an adult. So there are phases and stages of grief. And this particular model speaks of first going into denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Now, this is a model in which is not linear. So you can be going to denial, you can have depression, you can have bargaining, you can have, it can go from one stage to the next. And for each person, it is a unique experience. So we're going to look at the phases of grief. Phase 1 is a period of numbness that occurs close to the time of the loss. This numbness, experienced by most survivors, helps them to disregard the fact of the loss, at least for a brief period of time. And during this numbness, you can call it a gift in some ways, because sometimes you'll see people do some amazing feats and you're like, how are they doing that? It's just that how we have been so designed by God to be able to cope with life and its challenges, as He has made us resilient in that way, to be able to shut off certain emotions so that you're able to work through whatever it is that you have to face, the challenges that you have to deal with. Phase 2, the phase of yearning, in which you yearn for the lost one to return, and you tend to deny the permanence of the loss. It's like, I really want this person back. And anger plays an important role in this phase. So you'll find people may lash out, the simplest thing that you say that you thought was not a challenging thought, they may end up taking it the wrong way and being very sensitive. Phase 3, the phase of disorganization and despair. The bereaved person finds it difficult to function in the environment. And in such a case, there are some persons who may not be able to work anymore. They can't focus on the job, or even at home. Instead of doing the dishes or cleaning up the house, might be in such a funk that the entire house is a mess and they're just vegetating. Finally, he or she is able to enter phase 4, the phase of reorganized behavior, and begins to pull his or her life back together. And you can see the light emerging at the end of this process. So, as we go through, Plato said, man is a being in search of meaning. We are always searching for meaning. David Kessler, a protege of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and she's the one who developed the 5 stages of grief, emphasizing finding meaning as a key component in the grief healing process. So if you're able to find meaning in all of it, life becomes a lot easier. It becomes more palatable. So death often causes people to search for meaning, looking deeper within. And in that quest for finding meaning, gratitude for the time spent with loved ones emerges. Finding ways to commemorate and honor loved ones. That's when you see some persons may start a foundation in honor of that loved one, or create a bust, in memory of that loved one, or collage. Finding ways to, persons find meaning, have an easier time grieving because they're able to make sense of it all. Meaning is relative and personal. It takes time, and it could take months or years. Meaning doesn't require understanding. You don't need to know why to find meaning. So you don't need to know why the person died in order for you to find meaning. And this is where it's so critical for us to develop our spiritual lives and reconnect to God and the purposes that He has for us in the midst of that grief and loss. So, drunk driver ahead. Candy Lightner, the founder of MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. She started the organization after losing her daughter tragically to a drunk driver. It did not take away the pain, but for Candy, it gave her more meaning for living, knowing that she could turn her tragedy into triumph by helping to prevent other mothers from experiencing the pain she experienced and providing support to those who lost their children through drunk driving. And so like Candy, there are many others who could turn their pain into purpose and into power. So how can you effectively support a grieving person? So maybe you're not grieving yourself at this moment, but you know someone who is. Remember that grief belongs to the griever, and it's a personal experience. Follow their lead. Don't try to fix feelings or suggest that what they should be doing. Stay present and state the truth. I know that many of you on here are Bible scholars, and you know of Job and all that he went through and the losses that he faced. And when his friends came to visit, in the beginning, they did the right thing. They sat with him and they were just present. And that's really what he needed. He needed their presence to be there, to provide a listening ear, to provide solace, to provide comfort. But then afterwards, I think they got tired of hearing him rant and rave. And eventually they began to give him all kinds of platitudes, which eventually God chastised them for the way they spoke to Job. So you may want to go back to revisit Job again after tonight and really see how he experienced his grief and how his friends were with him. Death or loss is very painful. Avoid platitudes. You know what are platitudes? Oh, he's gone to a better place. Yes, God knows best. Avoid those. Let your friends know that you are there for them through your actions. Do not try to fix the unfixable. The person is no longer here. Loss to death cannot be fixed, repaired, or solved. Don't try to take away the pain, because you cannot. You can provide support, which is what they need. Remember, this is not about you. In the early stage of grief, the pain is intense. Be prepared to witness the unbearable pain, anger, fear, guilt, and other strong emotions. Please don't take anything that has been thrown at you by the griever personally. Because remember, during grief, a person will become angry. And so there are times they may lash out and they may say things that are harmful or hurtful to you. But this is where, because you are aware that this is something that is likely to happen, just prepare yourself for such and walk in a spirit of forgiveness and compassion. Ensure you have your own support network in place. So that means you should have support yourself if you're supporting someone else, because the depression or the grief, it could weigh you down as well. So it's important to have a support network for yourself. How can you effectively support a grieving person? Anticipate, don't ask. Do not say, call me if you need anything. During intense grief, they may not be able to identify needs or to make phone calls. You will need to be reliable and make concrete offers. True comfort in grief is in acknowledging the pain, not in trying to make it go away. Be willing not to have answers. Listen, be there, be present, be a friend. Love lasts forever. When you choose to find meaning or growth inside your loss, that's an act of personal sovereignty and self-knowledge. So that's your choice. When someone else ascribes growth or meaning to your loss, it diminishes your power, gives subtle shaming or judgment to who you were before, and tells you that you needed this somehow. That's why it feels bad. This is by Megan Devine in her book, It's Okay, You're Not Okay. It's actually quite an interesting book, something that if you are grieving, you may want to get a copy of. It's one of the texts that we used in our counseling, our grief counseling course at Grace Hill Bible University, St. Martin campus. So let's have a look at Paul's first letter to the Thessalonians, chapter 4, 13 through 18, which reads, "Now concerning those who have fallen asleep, we don't want you to remain in ignorance about them, my dear family. We don't want you to have the kind of grief that other people do, people who don't have any hope. For you see, if we believe that Jesus died and rose, that's the way God will also, through Jesus, bring with him those who have fallen asleep." This is the word of the Lord. I'm speaking to you. We who are alive, who remain until the Lord is present, will not find ourselves ahead of those who fell asleep. The Lord himself will come down from heaven with a shouted order, with the voice of an archangel and the sound of God's trumpet. The Messiah's dead will rise first. Then we who are alive, who are left, will be snatched up with them among the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And in this way, we shall always be with the Lord. So comfort each other with these words. And as you look at the joy in her face, this is the transition that generally takes place when there is grief that has completed itself in its course and is no longer complicated, or it's not complicated. Because sorrow may be for a moment, but joy eventually comes, even in the midst of the loss. At this point, I open for questions. If you have any questions or comments based upon the presentation so far. You can write in the chat if you so desire, or you may indicate if you have a question or comment. Any questions or comments from the presentation so far? Now is an opportunity.
Yeah, I'll come in again.
All right, welcome, Roger. Yes.
I just want to say it is all the things you had mentioned. It is very, how should I say, not only educational, interesting, but very thought-provoking. You know, a lot of these things we take for granted. And when you had asked me initially if I had any personal grief or anything like that, it wasn't a sense of any direct grief, but you know, we always have some sense of grief. You know, when you highlighted all the different types of grief, you know, we all experiences that. It's just that, you know, like in the picture you showed, if we stay in that darkness and don't come out, we sort of cloak all of our grief.
Yes.
So, you know, when you mentioned this, we have many, many different types of grief. And it's not only about ourselves, because we have friends, families, acquaintances,
Yes.
you know, relationships that we could connect it with. And it you know, brings attention to me that, you know, sometimes I see a lot of these relationships that I feel kind of helpless. You don't want to feel intruding. You want to, you know, because sometimes you have to be so careful, you know, because when you mention a couple of things there, and one of the key words for me is always that word empathy, right? We want to be empathetic, but how do we be empathetic? You know, as you said, it's not about me, it's about them.
Right.
How well do we listen? You know, and so when you mention all these points, it just hits home. You know, it triggers these feelings that this is what we're supposed to be doing. It's a definite reminder. You know, so I am so happy that you highlight these things, because a lot of these things we take it for granted, but we have to practice.
Yes.
Practice to become a habit and have consciousness. So I'm so happy that you present it in such a way. It's not only understandable, but it is really it gives you a path. Right? So I want to say thank you so far. Thank you.
You're so welcome, indeed.
Thank you so much for sharing, Roger. You said a very important point in your conversation just now, or your feedback. And as you stated, it's not really about sometimes the loss of a loved one, but it's also to what you might yourself, be feeling as a loss or experiencing as a loss. Like, for instance, not too long ago, I was saying to my wife here, when I was thinking about all that is happening in the world now, and I said to her at a time, I said, something, I can imagine there are a lot of persons out there who might not be saying this, but are grieving and asking themselves or missing the world that they once knew. Sometimes growing up, or you will hear your parents speaking, talking about, oh, I remember back in those days how it was. And you're saying, yeah, but we're now in present day. You're talking about back in the days. But the truth is, right now, there are many persons who are silently grieving on how the world has changed. And I know for myself, as I said to my wife not too long ago, I said, I'm really missing the world how it used to be, because now there's these interesting restrictions. You have to have this pass to get here and there. And if you're persons, for instance, like myself, who likes to go to the cinema, I'm thinking, well, what's happened now? I'm missing cinema because of all of this interesting changes. So it is not always about, as we may think, that is the loss of a loved one, but it could be a loss of what we are familiar with, what we have normally a hold of, and it's like taken away, a job, a relationship, the changes in the world. So I hope that makes sense for yourself too, Roger, and anyone else on here at this moment.
Yes, and I see Vincia has her hand up. You can unmute yourself.
Yes, good evening, and thanks thus far for the presentation. I just want to ask, can one be grieving and not know? Can you go, you could mean for a grieving period, but you're not aware that you are grieving?
Most definitely. And there are many people who don't know. And primarily, I would say, based upon what I have experienced as a therapist, is that many people lack awareness of themselves. There is trauma that many of us have experienced throughout our lives, and that trauma may disconnect us from our own selves. And when you're disconnected from yourself, you are not fully conscious of what is going on within you. And very often, physiologically, you may become sick, because that's the only way some people are able to connect with their pain. And so, yeah, the answer is yes. You definitely can be grieving and not know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. We see that Elizabeth Jones, you have your hand up. You may ask your question. You may unmute yourself, Elizabeth.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, good
By
evening.
the way, before you ask, would you want the
Yes.
your question recorded, or do you want it not recorded?
No, I just, it's okay.
Okay,
Recorded.
go ahead.
I just recently lost my daughter 3.5 months ago. And so most of what you said is basically, what I'm going through. But I kept like wanting to push myself because you know, I'm the person that like I don't, you know, like people to look at me and feel pity. But then as much as I try, it's so difficult, it's hard. And you're trying to be strong, but it seems to get harder. So the points that you shared make me feel much better because even last week I was somewhere and I mean, someone was, I came in their way, they were trying to like uplift my spirit. Like they weren't direct, it wasn't directly, but they was talking to someone, they're saying, oh, we have to enjoy life, you know, things happen, but life goes on. But the individual knew what I was going through, but they were indirectly speaking to me, to another person. So to me, I felt like I was, like, I'm not appreciating life, and it made me feel, but the is like, what am I doing that's so wrong? So all these points that you gave really helped me.
That's great. Happy to hear that. And much strength
Yes.
to you. I wasn't aware of that. So we'll
Indeed.
definitely connect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Anyone else with a question? You may put down your hand, Elizabeth, if you don't have another question. Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr.
Yes.
Francis.
Yes, a very good program, not because you're my daughter. But yes, I can concur with many of the things you said. From my experience as a teacher, over 50 years, I have encountered many students with a lot of the problems that you have mentioned. One thing I wanted to bring in mind, this is just a comment based on what you said, which is so true. There are times we think we are helping. According to Roger, I agree with Roger, sometimes we think we are empathizing, or we're doing more harm.
Right.
I used to visit the hospital regularly, and because I had friends there, and then after visiting my friends, I would just go and visit anybody, you know? And one Sunday I was at the ward, and some evangelical people came, and the attitude was so horrible. Yes, you have to get saved. Sin is what have you here. And they were behaving so badly. I am righteous, that's why I'm not sick. And so the person I visited started crying.
Wow.
And said, will you please leave? And they were still continuing. So I said, Madam, will you please leave? The lady says she doesn't want to hear from you. So I realized when you brought that up a while ago, it's a few years ago that happened, but it stuck in my mind that sometimes, honestly, I don't think she did it
Purposely.
willfully.
Yeah.
But not trained, not knowing, she feels the way to do it is by condemning. Get saved, repent. And so we have to be careful, especially with people from the church, sometimes who go to visit others, what we say to them. Sometimes it's best to be quiet. That's my 2 cents.
I agree. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
And it's indeed very true. And the truth be told, any of us at any point could be the bearers of such, of how we approach a situation, unknowingly, unwittingly. And I know also that because of how we have been acculturated, many of us don't know how to deal with grief adequately. And so there's often an awkward silence when somebody is grieving and just saying some off the cuff things. So yes, fully acknowledged. And I see Sabina, our next speaker, her hand is up. Sabina, go ahead.
Well,
I am greeting everyone. So do you want me to just to start?
1 sec. Let me just introduce you. Yes. So welcome, Sabina Asadova, leading skilled woman recognized by the National Association of Professional Women as Woman of the Year 2012-13. She's also a past awardee as Business Woman of the Year by Open Heart Ministry, a member of NAPW. She received her PhD in physics from Baku State University, Bachelor of Arts degree from State Economy Business University, and her Bachelor of Science when she finished Medical School of Nursing. She's a CEO of Global Health to Wealth and a certified Wholistic Health Coach. And so with no further ado, we bring on Ms. Sabina Asadova.
Awesome. Well, greetings to everyone. I am excited to be here. And thank you for such amazing presentation. Dr. Nicole, you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
And it's not that easy to be after you. But I truly would like to say that I'm coming from my own experience. And just recently, my father passed. And that was like a tremendous loss for me. He was a big person in my heart and in my destiny and in my life. But again, all the praise to Lord. Actually, he gave me the same words that you read at the end, saying that as a Christians, if we believe that righteous people just going to sleep and they will be arised by Jesus. That's why we celebrate life. And of course, that was very knowledgeable that a lot of people going through losses and they don't even realizing. I know personally that when I went through my own divorce, I lost my position, or let's say identity as a married woman. And I was grieving and I didn't know about it. So becoming holistic health coach truly changed and revived my mind and renewed my mind too. And it helped me not only move in the spirit, but in the physical world too. As we all know, we are spirit, soul, and body. So I'm glad that you covered like two aspects of us. So I'm here to cover the third aspect of the body. So as you know, we are all made from the dust, and which means that our biological body is designed to support our to support our spirit and the soul. So going through the grieving is of course engaging all our emotions. It's engaging our heart. It's engaging our soul. And of course, depends how you're managing it. It's all, or if you know the tools, how to manage it, it will allow you to come out of the situation strong and healthy. And unfortunately, a lot of people are getting wounded from not even realizing that they are in grief and or being hurt or lost something. And that's soul wounds that they need to heal in God's presence. We can, of course, can talk about it a lot. And I know that you are a great expert in that and you will be able to answer those questions. But I truly would like to tell and share about the amazing company that we're with and with amazing holistic doctor that actually is leading our university and at the same time certifying us as a holistic health coaches. So he has more than 45 years of experience being as a scientist. He developed the longevity company, and based on this company, we do have a phenomenal products that are all coming from earth and don't have any preservatives and made from raw minerals that actually our cells are designed from in our supplementation line. But today I'm going to add some more information that we do have a high quality cannabis oil products, which is short way to say CBD oils.
And the huge differences of the products that we do have and the ones that truly helped me personally to go through my loss, it's hemp effects that we do have in our longevity line. So basically, I was planning to get very into details in the differences between the hemp oil and the marijuana, because a lot of people don't know the differences. So just to make it short, because the time, I would like just to say that hemp and marijuana is a cousins. So hemp is much more effective and have much more benefits for our health, and doesn't have any effects on our our brain as it does in marijuana. So what the hemp oil does, and actually our products are all based on high quality hemp, and the way how we produce that hemp is actually phenomenal, and it's a top quality in the United States. That's why it's so effective. So our body itself already have that chemical combination, and it's also in our brain and in our column. And when we are going through the grief, of course, it's a part of being in a tremendous stress that it's going either consciously or unconsciously. So, but the stress in the body, what it does is actually increasing the loss of the minerals. So we are generally all deficient. And when we are going through the grief and this type of situations in life, our body is basically using all the supply that it has in the bones, like magnesium and calcium, sucking in to balance out our nerve system, so we can go through the stress and trauma in balancing out our neuroconnectors in the brain. So, and of course, if the person were already deficient, they're getting more deficient, and they can get ended up with very severe diagnosis. A lot of people know that a lot of disease actually somehow appears after the stress or some trauma in their life. And I just explained the mechanism behind that. So don't be surprised if your blood pressure will jump up, or you will see that, I apologize, I just need to turn it off. Or if you will see like, how to say that, the blood pressure is coming up, or people are starting to eat and comfort themselves and calm themselves with the food. So that can be too. So the way how to find out what's going on with your body, make sure that you will reach out to Dr. Nicole. She does have a special self-assessment link that will allow you to see what is your health score at the moment. And to knowing your health score will allow you to approach your health and improve your health and reach the optimal health with our coaching and our support and the products that we have. So make sure that you will reach out to her to do that self-assessment and finding out your health score. So we will be able to help you to design your individual, journey to reaching the optimal health. But today I'm going to talk about the hemp effects that we do have. And what I like to mention that I think I will just cut down all my presentation towards specific information that would say how hemp products are actually helping us. On the first one, on the screen, you see the Uplift. So Uplift, it does have a very important mood enhancement. So it's cannabis has been used for centuries to treat nervousness and anxiety, as well as the mood problem. So CBD may help to improve both depression and anxiety. At least in the past, it's increasing with the serotonin receptors in the brain. So research shows that the CBD can reduce both mental and physical symptoms of anxiety. And study of the CBD given to people before public speaking events indicates that CBD can help reduce stress. So this and other research has shown that CBD can be an effective treatment for social anxiety too. And it's actually, some scientists are saying that it's even possible benefits of the CBD in the bipolar disorders too. So when we talk about the Uplift, it comes in the gel form and it's in the capsules. So it's designed for 30 days treatment and elevates your mood and cognitive energy, which means that when you're waking up, you charged with the energy and you are feeling much better, you have more positive thoughts. And let's say it brings positive energy to your mind and your mood. Uplift naturally boosts your cognitive performance and provides sharpness and clarity to enhance your outlook. So our hemp drive CBD combined with St. John's wort and the specialized set of the very specific cannabinoids enhancements, and it takes your mind to a new level. So this Uplift is phenomenal product, especially if you need to, sometimes it can be a blue seasons. Let's say I live up north and the winter time is our blue seasons when the cold comes in and we feel lack of sun, and we can develop that type of a, I would say, light depression. It's phenomenal as a treatment, and you can just do it for 30 days and reassess yourself. And you will definitely start to feel enhancement in your mind almost within the first couple of days of treatment. So this is about the first product. And the second product that I would like to touch base with is hemp effects, which we call Relax. So Relax, I don't know if you have a picture of it. It comes in the oil form, but it's designed to be dissolved under your tongue. So it does have a dispenser, and it's also 30 mLs, and all that you need to use is just, it's a dropper. So you just use 1 drop a day under your tongue. So what does the Relax? Relax is also very high quality hemp oil. So the hemp effects Relax eases the mind and the body to promote deep and restful sleep. So our hemp derived CBD plus relaxing herb of the additional the chamomile, lavender, and valerian are combined with melatonin to calm the body. So it helps not only to relax, but it's almost like unwind the mind and promote your best night's sleep. So I would definitely suggest that as a combination. So this the Relax is for the nighttime, just to take it before getting to bed, and Uplift, you can take that in the morning. So this combination definitely will help to balance out your nerve system, help you out to be strong and going through any type of a stress or I would say tragedy or grieving with the healthy mind. So you're not going to stuck in those emotions for a long time, but you would become stronger and you would be able to, how to say that, to live through with a healthy thoughts, healthy mind, healthy self feelings. And to the end, I truly would like to add one more product that's one of my favorites, and we're talking about the de-stress. And de-stress is phenomenal combination of the herbs and phenomenal combination of the special ingredients that are actually helping with your adrenal glands. And as you know, when we are in stress and when you are at work going through something, or let's say at the same time you're losing any family members, or it's all in combination. We're humans. We're going through a lot of emotions, as you know, and just to be constantly in stress, it means that your adrenal glands are on fight and flight program, which means that your body and your mind is constantly fighting for life. It's constantly working towards survival mode. That's why when we know this aspect, the de-stress is phenomenal. And what it does, it helps you while you sleep to get you not only deep sleep, but at the same time, it gives you the opportunity to reset your adrenal glands, which means that when you're waking up, you feel like you just came back from the vacation. It means that your whole system is reset and you are ready for the new day. And it's a phenomenal product. It's very affordable, but the benefit is unbelievable, especially if the people have a thyroid issues, if they have a diabetes, or they have a high blood pressure, or the nervousness or anxiety as a part of their routinely life. They will see a tremendous improvements in their well-being. So unfortunately, I don't have that much of a time, but those are the 3 products that I truly would like to focus on tonight. And just to say that let's be aware that we can advocate for ourselves. Let's be aware that your healthy thoughts, as one of my pastors was saying, that watch your thoughts, you've been recorded. So I truly would like you to take a charge for your life. And while you're breathing, it means that you have a purpose on this earth. Whatever happens in your life, it's a part that you can just take a huge lesson of it and become stronger. And I truly believe in that. So basically, I am open for any questions, and I do encourage you to reach out to Dr. Nicole and do your self-assessment, so you will get the full benefits of us being with you as your coaches and to sharing the knowledge and the wisdom with you. Well, thank you, and may God bless you and comfort you and your family members. For everyone who is going through the grief, my heart reaching out to you. And I know that we can go through this much stronger, came out from the situations much stronger, wiser, and being a resource for other people who need us. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Sabina. That was very inspirational. And we are in solidarity with you as well as you go through your bereavement of your dad, and we celebrate his life with you.
Thank you.
Yes. Any questions? Because Sabina really is out. She's doing her thing tonight, and she's not able to stay for a long time with us. So if you have any questions for her, now would be the exact right time to ask her, please. Going once, going twice, no questions, no comments. Okay. Vincia.
Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, and thanks again for Sabina presentation. Well, you showed three I want to call them drugs. What must I say?
Supplements.
Pardon?
Supplements.
Supplements. You showed the free supplements. Are they available? Where are they available? And apart from the supplement, is there other things that one can use, natural, that they can use? For example, I'm thinking of exercise or other means whereby you can de-stress. Is there?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So basically, all the supplements are available on an island. We do placing the order online, and it takes 2 weeks to be delivered. And I know that Dr. Nicole will be able to give you like more details and information on that. And what it comes to as you mentioned, a complex of approach, we do have that. So basically it's a right diet. We do suggest to eliminate 12 bad food that affects your body. And we can provide that information to everyone who would be interested. And if you would decide to take care of yourself based on our system, we will be able to teach you a special diet that will be helping your neuroconnectors in your brain, and it will be connecting, helping your whole metabolism system, first of all, to start recharge your body. You would be amazed how much better you would start to feel when you know exactly what needs to be done. And of course, we do have phenomenal protocol based on your specific numbers, because I can't tell exactly what it is unless I will see your numbers and I will see what your body individually, let's say in your case, what you are missing. Because in some cases, people are struggling with calcium and magnesium and potassium and all these ingredients. In another cases, they are missing omega-3, 6, and 9s. So we just need to do that individual self-assessment, and based on that, we can definitely help you to reach your optimal health. And the optimal health in our case, we're always saying it's your score has to be 95 to 100. And it took me 8 months to get there. Believe me, it's much better than being sick and unhealthy. It's phenomenal results, that energy level. And I'm going to be 50 so soon. And I feel myself like I am in my 30s. And I think I look like I am in my 30s. So
yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Sabina, and answering the question from Vincia. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. And
Sure.
just to show you, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see here, I am absolutely, I would say, a perfect example of the use of de-stress. You can see it here, so it's here with us. And
Awesome.
I have to say, I was having some challenges over the last few weeks. And when we ordered in de-stress, I can tell you one thing for sure is that I've been having some pretty good night rest, and I will take this before I go to bed, and I will sleep like a baby. So it's really, really great. And I would, I would say to you out there, if you are interested, you can have a conversation with us. You, as Sabina said, and I placed it in the chat, we have the health evaluation assessment link there, which is, of course, complimentary. Once you've taken that, then, of course, we will be able to set up a time with you so that we can go through your health score with you and then look at what supplements will be, perfect for you, for your situation.
So just to let you know what's in it, It has in vitamin C, vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, vitamin B5, is that 15 or 5?
B5.
B5 has in calcium, magnesium, valerian root extract. So those are the ingredients in it.
And plus it does have a special ingredients that we call special herbs for adrenal glands.
Correct.
It's at the end.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is right there. Yep.
And in reference to your question, Vincia, of course, exercise, being out in nature, the beach, I call the beach Dr. Beach, all these are wonderful things in addition to what we have shared that you can do to de-stress. Anyone else?
Was there a question, I believe, from Roger? Were you going to ask something?
Oh, no, so I unmuted. No, not really. Not really. Now, since I'm on to you, that other thing you have there for the medical program you have upcoming, is it 27 or something like that?
Yes, the 27th to the 31st.
What is the deadline for signing in for that?
Well, you could sign up until the day of, but try not to wait so late.
Okay, that's
Yeah, you can go to the website, the victoriouslivingfoundation.com, and the health page, and you'll find a link where you can sign up for free there. And you have access to a host of specialists as well as additional bonuses as well.
yeah, okay, fine. That's what I wanted. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Sabina,
Yeah.
do you have any other final thoughts before you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you very much for everyone who participated. It just means that you're in the right place in the right time. And I am absolutely keeping all of you in my prayers, and I'm hoping that you will feel that comfort and peace and shalom that God gives us. And please use that piece of knowledge, and please use those resources to make yourself and advocate for yourself, and just become strong, become stronger person that you were before. So thank you. It's a great honor to be here. I appreciate your time. And if you'll have any questions, Dr. Nicole has all my contacts. You're more than welcome just to reach me out.
Thank you so much, Sabina. And
Absolutely.
I wish you a wonderful rest of the night.
Thank you. Many blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Any further questions before we continue and begin our descent? I see Desiree Connor, welcome. We also have a member of Graceville Bible University who is here with us, one of our students, George. George, welcome as well. Are you still here? Let's see if you're still here. Looks like you're not. But I'm going to share my screen now as we begin to wrap up. 1 second.
So in the time being, while we're getting the screen ready to share with you, if you do have any final questions, feel free to ask before that time goes, because I know how it can be. Maybe you might not have it readily, but just to be able to share, you can put into the chat what your question is. So we'll be more than happy to do that for you.
So this is what Mr. Yi was speaking about. He was speaking about the upcoming summit. So I'm going to play that for you. Yes, so that is coming up October 27th to 31st. And at this point, I'd like you to just take a moment to reflect on all that we shared tonight. Just ground yourself with your feet flat on the ground, your hands on your thighs. And as you look at the stillness of the water and the blue skies, and as you look at the greenery all around, find your peaceful place, a place where nothing can disturb your peace of mind. Regardless of all that is taking place around us, all that is taking place within us, just be still for a moment and acknowledge the goodness of God. Acknowledge that you are not alone, even when you feel alone. Acknowledge His presence as you just bask in the beauty of His holiness. And as you embrace the stillness, just take a deep breath in, inhale life, and exhale any stressful feelings that you may be having. Inhale the loving memories of a loved one that may have passed, the beauty that you may have experienced with that person, the joy, and exhale any form of pain, pressure, sadness. And as you're in this moment, I invite you to think about all that you're grateful for, all of the goodness that you have been blessed with. Even if it feels to maybe a few of you that you don't have that much to be grateful for, the fact that you're alive is enough to be grateful for, since so many people have been dying. So I want you to just go to that place of peace, that place of God's presence, that place where nothing can disturb your peace of mind, that place where you're totally at rest, knowing that nothing is impossible with God, that He's with you, and He promises never to leave nor forsake you. So take a deep breath again. Inhale. Inhale life. Inhale His presence. Inhale His peace. Inhale His love. Inhale His joy. And give thanks. Give thanks. Give thanks. So I invite you to enjoy some special gifts. You can take a picture of the link, or you can make a note of the link. It's going to be recorded, so the recording will be up on our website, victoriouslivingfoundation.com, within the next few days. So you can go to Victorious Living Foundation's health page at www.victoriouslivingfoundation.com to partake of the webinar, or to register for the upcoming Lifestyle Medicine Summit from October 27th to 31st. And you can also get access to the free health assessment, which is in the chat and is also on the website. And at this link, Cope with Grief gift, There are several gifts that are enclosed in there. And you're also able to go to the site and see Breaking the Silence. And this was a powerful webinar that the students at Grace Hill Bible University also conducted. So I say thank you for spending the time with us this evening. And I invite you, if you would like to share your thoughts, whether in the chat or verbally, and how you have experienced this evening, and if you have any further questions. And Brother Yi Young, thank you for your commendations.
A quick question, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Does your website carry a listing of your supplements that you offer?
Not all. So, but I will be able to provide that because I have your email. So I'll send you the links and everything.
Okay, I was looking for a supplement related to nitric oxide.
Okay, no problem. When you go to the link, the health link, it will take you to the product page.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Thank you.
And your assessment would also give some indication of some of the things that you might need.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do see that Maria Shimon just had a question. Go ahead, Maria. You can unmute yourself, Maria Shimon. Yes, Maria, go ahead. We're listening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Maria.
Yes, must say congratulations on a well-presented webinar experience for me. And I'm very happy that I tuned in because recently I lost my mom in the Netherlands and happened so I was there. So at this present moment, I am going through that period of grief. And so it has been very rewarding for me to hear from you as well as the other Sabina, Miss Sabina, you know, those what to experience and what one can experience. And it's not unusual. It's part of the grieving process.
Correct.
So thank you very much for a great presentation this evening and just continue to keep up the good work and God bless you.
Thank you so much. And please accept comfort from us as well.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. Yes. Thanks, Dr. Erna.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. You're welcome.
Blessings.
To you too.
Thank you. Are there any other questions before we wrap up this evening together with you? You may feel free to raise your hand and then you'll be able to unmute your mic and we'll hear from you.
Desiree Connor, we acknowledge what you said. It was a great session. Thanks for both of us, Ms. Sabina. You learned to be more helpful when dealing with others in their grief. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Desiree. Good evening to you, Jonathan, one of our youth wing young men from Y2X. Good to have you here with us.
So let me just acknowledge everyone that's on the call tonight. Ms. Cynthia Wrighton, great having you with us. Marcel Walker, thanks for being with us. Skalenda Krunevelt, thank you. Siobhan Bailey, thank you for being with us. Diana Green, Piola, Sylvia, Jonathan Raymond, Veronica Wallace, George Richardson, Elizabeth Jones, Swinda Richardson, Beryl Burkle, Beverly Gibbs. Thank you all, Lizette Thomas, Kathleen and Oswald Francis, my parents. Thank you so much for being here. George Richardson, you are still here. Okay, I acknowledged you earlier. Jacqueline Wilson, Ina McCool, Bertrand Charles, Mr. Roger Yi Fung. Are you by way of Trinidad? Do you live there?
That's correct. You only have a few of us from Trinidad.
Do you live here or are you in Trinidad itself?
No. I'm here for the last 36 years now.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, good to have you.
Yeah.
Yes. So we will close off with a word of prayer. Would you like to do that? You want me to do it?
Yes, you can close off.
Okay. So let's bow our heads. Father, we thank you for this wonderful opportunity you've given to each of us to be here, to be present, to be live in this time and space. Thank you, Lord, that you promise to bless us, those who mourn, that we shall be comforted. And so, Lord, for each person that is on this Zoom and for those who will watch, who may be grieving, we ask you, Lord, that by the power of your Holy Spirit, that you will touch each one, that you will comfort each one, that you will remind each person of your love for each of them, and that they may feel your tangible presence, your tangible comfort, and that they may be strengthened to be able to be a blessing to others. So, Lord, we thank you for this night. May each person rest well and be safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Have a good night, everyone. And it's
Good
our
night.
pleasure having you with us tonight.
Good night.
Good night, and thank
Have
you.
a blessed
Good night.
weekend,
You're
friends.
welcome. You too.